Don't go running off. You're working the camera. Hey, everybody.
3, 2.
No, we don't do that here. Long show. Hey, everybody. It's Uncle Grumpy, and we are on the road today. We're going to call this Grumpy's Corner. I am here with a good friend, David Van from Sooner Politics.
Yeah.
David, thanks for joining us.
Glad to be here.
Do you know what we're standing in front of?
Some kind of geodesic dome disc. I see parabolic disc, right?
It's a light bulb tester.
Oh, okay.
It was a light bulb tester. So everybody thinks it's some kind of dry. We thought it was some kind of curing unit for cannabis, but or something like that. But no, it's actually a.
Well,
it's an antique light bulb tester. So.
I used to have a neighbor who would sit on his front porch with one of those parabolic dishes, and he would listen to other people's conversations in their living room.
I see.
Yeah, we got him out of the neighborhood.
That's not good. That's not good. Okay, so we're here at Green Country Bud at 89th and Yale in Tulsa. This is a beautiful facility. We were talking about it earlier. Beautiful building. What surprises me is the nice artwork on the walls on the way in. I was wondering where a dispensary comes up with all the artwork, but this was built on a charity. This guy has been helping people for a long time. This was his main business is a nonprofit. So you know, that's great. I was thrilled to see that, and he's certainly doing it well here. You said this is the first time you've actually been in a dispensary?
Yes, it is. I once peeked my head inside on an opening day.
So what do you think so far? How's it look?
It's very impressive, very professional. I've seen pictures of other ones. I think this is one of them that probably does the industry good as far as reputation for cleanliness, quality product, knowledgeable staff. Yeah, it's just very good. And you know, it surprised me the kind of patients that come in here. They are everybody.
Well,
they are,
you know. I mean, the average card holder is over 50.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm just over 50. So, even with this long gray beard, I'm actually the average Oklahoma card holder.
And a lot of people say that's really why 788 passed, is because a lot of the people that are getting up there, if they don't have arthritis issues, pain management issues, they know somebody who does. And they know what opiates can do. In fact, we're watching right now a big national lawsuit. Our attorney general's going after Johnson & Johnson, Merck, all of these people, and saying, you know, these opiates, you doctors and you pharmaceuticals been pushing us, you're killing people.
Yeah, I watched part of that trial yesterday.
Yeah.
I was underwhelmed by Mike Hunter's, by his witness, his expert witness, and by his questions. I was extremely underwhelmed. Yeah. When his witness was commenting about pain management patients and addiction, and then when the other side got to questioning him, and it turns out he has never treated a pain management patient. Yeah. That kind of discredited everything he was talking about from my perspective. What do you think?
Yeah, I watched part of it. They had a fella there who was more of an addiction specialist, I think, more so than pain management. So that's not the kind of person you want talking pain management issues.
Right, or in this case, in my opinion, even talking about the addiction issue, because it started with pain management in so many of these cases. They weren't addicts who then had to go to pain management. They were people who got hurt and had to go to pain management and ended up as addicts due to the easy flow of medication. And I speak from experience. Yeah. As I've said many times, they allowed me to up myself by just requesting more help every time I went to the doctor. Yeah. They would give me another prescription, and I was up to 9,855 pills a year. That's a lot of pills. Yeah. Okay. That's 27 pills a day. That's a lot of pills. Yeah. Now with cannabis, you know, it's less than 2,000. I'm still a pain management patient. I still require some pain management treatment. But am I an addict? Am I addicted to these? Probably. Yeah. But since I keep having surgeries and I have further structural problems causing the pain, they're still necessary.
Yeah.
So what comes first?
Yeah.
Is it more important that I don't be an addict, or more important that I have a quality of life?
Yeah. In fact, I think a beautiful story to tie into that is when you were at the Capitol this last session and they introduced you to that same lobbyist that wrote all those god-awful laws last year at Attorney General Mike Hunter's behest in an election year, and you can't discount that as motivation.
Right. Well, and I mentioned that to him. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, and I remember you saying the guy just sat there and took it. Well, you just ripped into him. I think you need to tell us that.
Well, I wasn't introduced to him on purpose.
Oh.
I just happened to be hovering, as I do at the Capitol, which is how things happen there. And I was hovering outside the floor leader's office, and this gentleman was speaking with him, and the person who worked with him were speaking with John Eccles' assistant, Kay.
Yeah.
And getting some information from them, and John was involved in part of the conversation. I was just in the hallway just listening, and I caught on to what was going on. So the minute I saw an opportunity, without interrupting, I managed to introduce myself and get in what became a very heated discussion with this man. And as you said, he did stand there and take it. He was very courteous. He understood. He said he understood the ramifications of 1446. Now, I don't think anybody who doesn't live it understood it.
Yeah.
But he's trying to understand it, and he worked on this 848, which fixed a lot of that.
Yeah.
And you know, we've gone back and looked at it. Dr. Lawrence Pasternak and myself were talking about this again yesterday. 1446 didn't even do what everybody says it did. And without letting too much out of the bag here, there is one particular person who's not an elected official, not our Attorney General, okay, who deliberately went to all these doctors and put the fear in these doctors for almost 2 years. Had meetings with these doctors and told them the Attorney General and others were going to come after them. I'm trying to figure out how to, I mean, I know who this person is.
Does it rhyme with Gary Fight?
I'm not going to get into. I'm not going to get into the name game there.
Okay.
I'm just going to no.
Okay.
And but I'm not going to play.
Okay.
I'm not going to play. But
I'll
you're
stop.
wrong.
I'll stop.
But
I'm relieved, but I'll stop.
Okay. Well, I want to figure out the proper way to expose that. We're talking about that. I think it's necessary. I did put all this on the Attorney General. I do hold him accountable for this and his, in my opinion, lack of response when it happened, when the problem started happening. But then again, I understand why he couldn't respond, because he has to be told to address it first. I understand the way the game is played.
But
okay? I understand the chess game. I understand the moves that have to be made for him to put out something to address it, and why it took so long, and why he addressed it finally, 60 days before 1446 took effect, which was too late for the doctors to back out of this fear, which caused them all to drop so many patients.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and a beautiful thing, part 2 of this story, is what happened in the legislature this year to address part of it. And I think John Eccles had a big part of that when he presented the bill that said you no longer have to every month go back, new appointment to your doctor. Because that's the logistic thing that I think led to so many people being dumped off, is this doctor who would say come every 6 months, we'll follow up. Now they're saying you have to come every month or we're dropping you. A doctor can only see so many people in a day.
Is it everything working over there?
I want you to step back just a little bit.
Okay, all right, you move it all you want. I'm just trying to keep the sound going there.
So
we have good
I
quality
think
sound. You're
that,
probably not as loud as I am.
Yeah, that as much as anybody, or as anything, is what led to people like you getting dumped off. They had to find some criteria, so it didn't look like it would be an arbitrary, and decide which patients are we going to keep and which ones are we going to have to dump.
Right.
And then the fact that less and less doctors want to get into that because of the harassment they get from people like our Attorney General, because we've seen several of them that have gotten charges, they've lost their license, you lose your career, maybe you spend time in prison for this. And it's a harassment that's happening. So that bill that said, you know what, the existing established pain management people with chronic conditions, probably been on these opiates for 5 years, they are not the problem. It's the person who goes in for surgery and, okay, you're probably going to be really miserable for about 3 weeks while you're in recovery. Here's 3 weeks supply, and a certain number of those are going to get addicted.
Yeah, it's easy. It's easy. I'm just glad to see 848 finally pass. I'm not sure. I don't think it had an emergency rule on it. Did it?
Boy, I hope it did.
No, I don't think it did. I see my doctor on Monday, and I'm hoping it'll be the last time I have to see him for 6 months.
Yeah.
Now that's how it was before, as you were saying. In fact, my doctor here in Tulsa, for almost 14 years, I saw him twice a year.
Yeah.
Now I had to go to his office every month to get the handwritten prescription because the DEA made it where they can't call those in anymore.
You
fine.
couldn't email them in. You
Right,
couldn't
which is a
e-
problem. Look,
e-prescription.
for me personally, when this started, I lived 2 hours from Tulsa.
Yeah.
I had a car that got 15 miles to the gallon downhill off a cliff, turned off. So, it cost me $25 round trip to go pick up my medicine
Well,
every
it
month.
did, and here's another problem. Now, they said when the first e-prescribing came about where they would electronically send it to your pharmacy, you couldn't do that because they couldn't trust that against safeguards. Now they flipped the other way and said that's the only way you can transmit a prescription for opiates. You can no longer handwrite a prescription.
What?
That's part of the
That's
laws
part of 848?
That went into effect last November. Yeah.
No. They're still handwriting mine.
Wow.
I have to have. That's the only way I can get them. I have
That's
to show up every
interesting.
month and
Yeah,
get them.
and I prefer that handwritten thing. I'll tell you why. I go every.
I'm going to have to look in. I don't mean to
Yeah.
interrupt you. I'm going to have to look into this.
Yeah, but one of the lobbyists was Terry Simonson, who represents the Sheriff's Association. He was a big part of pushing all of those things last year. And he said, yes, you can no longer handwrite those highly scheduled drugs. They have to be all electronic. And I'm like, man, now a doctor has to invest in all this equipment and subscriptions and all that. The old country doctor, is kind of pushed out of that.
Now, the way mine is, everything I get has to be electronic except for my pain medicine.
Yes.
And those
Yeah.
have to be, I have to pick those up every month.
Well, I was told last fall that as about November 1st,
Okay.
that was going to affect. Here's my problem. Every month, my wife and I, we're getting old enough to where we have our maintenance drugs. Every month I go in fact, I got to go today and pick them up. And they'll quite often be out of them.
Right.
Well, the problem is, if they're out of them, now you've got to compel on that pharmacist to shop around and forward your prescription to somebody else who might have
Oh,
them.
they won't do that.
And, yeah.
With mine, they
But
won't.
if you own that piece of paper, you can plop it down at any pharmacy
Right.
and say, please fill it.
Right.
Because you own that.
Yeah,
You
I never
control
leave it there. If they don't have it,
Exactly.
I'll ask them to call their franchise, they're usually
Yeah.
a franchise, usually CVS or something, where I have to get it filled.
Now, let me say this. From the standpoint of the cannabis patient, this inadvertently, although we don't like it, this really helped make our case for cannabinoid-based medicines for pain. And it was a godsend.
Yeah.
Because
What? You mean the restrictions?
the fact that we made it so hard for people to get relief through the opioids, because all the hassle that our Attorney General's been putting on everybody, because the cannabinoid medicines come out, now so many people are opting for it, and that's a good thing.
All right. Well, I'll give you that one there. I'd call that polishing up a turd, but we'll give you
Yes.
that one, Dave.
It's an
you did a great
unintended-
job. You
it's
did a
a-
hell of a shine job there. I assure you.
It is
Hell
an
of a shine
unintended
job.
benefit, and
Okay.
we're using it.
All right.
I've been using
That's
it at
that's
the
a glass
legislature
half-
to
that's a
say,
glass half full. I like
yeah,
that.
it's all the more reason not to further restrict the cannabis medicine.
I've got somebody this morning I've been speaking to that's out in the Tahlequah area that can't get to her pain management doctor today because of flooding.
Yeah,
They can't call it in. They can't get it to
Yeah.
her. She's even gone to the local ER, which won't fill her medicine.
sure.
They're telling her she has to go to this doctor.
Yeah, And the homebound patients, the ones that are the least mobile, are the ones we're putting the most restrictions on.
About that, about the homebound patients, let me tell you, I had somebody ask about that this morning, about what we're doing about homebound patients who need a medical marijuana card. There's about half a dozen different telemedicine companies out there right now.
Yeah.
Carrie Chronic, who's involved in the event we're putting on, she has a telemedicine company. Just type in Carrie Chronic and you can get your recommendation right there from your telephone. So
That's awesome.
how are we doing on power over there? Are we okay?
Good.
Okay, good. All right, Dave, I want to talk to you about Sine Die, end of
Yeah.
session, okay?
Yeah.
It's actually official Friday
Yeah, it
at
is.
5 o'clock,
Yeah.
but we know they weren't coming back. It was a strategic move to leave it open,
Yes, it was.
which I'm a chess player, so I like that. I
Yeah.
would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
What do you think about the way things ended up? I'm fairly pleased with the way things
Yeah.
ended up. I really am.
Yeah.
Because we're standing in a dispensary in Oklahoma having this conversation.
Yeah.
That right there tells me what a big win we have right now. In this
It
state.
is. And
What do you think?
Yeah. In fact, I'm getting ready to release my own scoring of our legislature. And this morning when I got your text, I was busy tabulating up, and I've got the base scores on it. This is perhaps the best legislature I've ever covered as far as what it did for freedom generally. And I'm talking medicine freedom, lifestyle freedom, self-protection freedom, just a number of things, all these different, including financial, we're not going to tax us, like crazy anymore. We already are. I wish we'd gone further on that. That's a little disappointing, but the scores are amazing, what I'm getting. Our lawmakers, I called up Scott Fettgatter the other day. I said, you realize you're one of the top scoring legislators for restoring individual
you don't
freedom.
need to tell Scott that.
Oh, I
Really.
know.
We don't need to swell his
Well,
head
yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, but Eccles scores really high. The speaker, McCall, I was surprised. Wow, that dude's got a good score. And then some of the people that don't, people that are friends of mine, I consider allies, that some of them are still caught up in this legislating morality according to how they define it. Some of those aren't scoring so well because they're still caught up, especially the rural lawmakers, on we got to keep them dope heads out of our county.
So you're talking about the ones that, I'm not going to name names, but the ones who put forward ideas like dry counties and other silly things like that.
Yeah.
Are you aware, did you see the show we did? Maybe we talked about this. Where in this, I think it's Cato County, where we have this district attorney who is Jason Hicks, I think is the name, is using federal law and agreements in leases
Yeah.
with people who are under federally assisted housing
Yeah, I did follow
to
that.
search their homes. I've been getting a lot more stories. I've been getting a lot of calls from people who choose to remain anonymous
Yeah.
due to connections to politics in that area and to him personally. And I'm not hearing a lot of good things.
No.
I'm thinking we need a major shift of investigation to some of these small counties, to not just this one, this DA,
Yeah.
but we have 27 different district attorneys in the state of Oklahoma.
Yeah.
In the conversations I've had with others, like for example Bud Scott, who's doing great work working with some of these DAs
Good.
and other lawmakers to in the small communities to educate them.
Yeah.
I don't think enough of that is being done.
Yeah. Up here at Pawhuska, Mike Fisher, he's bragging he's got the biggest marijuana bust in Oklahoma history. It's a hemp truck on the way to Colorado.
Yeah.
That's going to end up costing the state multi-million dollars in a federal lawsuit violating interstate commerce clauses.
Right.
But yet we had another interdiction happen down here in Sallisaw. Now that district attorney, Jack Thorpe, did fantastic. In fact, I saw him a month later, and I said, hey, I hope that it came through in my writing. You did the right thing. He said, okay, I'll take some tests, some samples, send it to the DEA, and if they want to make a case of it, fine. Otherwise, sir, you can go on your way. And the guy went on to Colorado. Haven't heard from him since.
So I've got one I'd like you to look into, if you don't mind. I have another person who watches on a regular basis, and I saw her commenting about how she had to surrender her MMJ card to keep her housing. And she's not in federal housing. It was a state Section 8 housing. In some areas, that's what they're telling them. So this is happening all over. I'd like as much help as I can get in looking into this, because since it was no longer in session, we've got to look at what's going on in these other towns.
We got two ways we can go at this. And Mike Hunter, as Attorney General, this falls on you. You write an opinion on this, directing your district attorneys how they're supposed to uphold Oklahoma law. That's what I think number one needs to happen. If it doesn't, then we need to start filing. One, we should have an interim study on the rollout of medical marijuana and be studying it this summer. I don't think this issue's done. We can fine-tune a number of things. That's one of them, where patients get to come in and talk about, I could get well if you would tweak the policies this way, or people with housing issues or job issues, and so we get feedback how these laws are being implemented and what the consequences are.
I think reaching out to the Attorney General is a good idea.
Yeah.
Maybe we should all try that, and that might be our next campaign. Try and get everyone to call when we come up with the proper message. Don't do it yet. Let's come up with the proper way to deliver this. Maybe I'll talk to Lawrence. Maybe we can come up with something, or kind of a script everybody can use to call and help get the Attorney General to do an investigation or to give an opinion.
Yeah. Now we've got one new drug paraphernalia law that was put into effect.
Now, which one is that?
This is Senate Bill 33. J.J. authored it.
What's it do?
It says anybody cannot be found in possession of a vaping device on any public school grounds. It is a misdemeanor. You will get hauled off in handcuffs. And it doesn't mean just students. Right now, every public school district bans vaping devices on school grounds, and I think that's good.
But it'll make it a misdemeanor for if a teacher leaves it in her purse.
If your son's playing football Friday night, you go to the game, but you got PTSD. Even if you have it locked in the school parking lot in the trunk of your car, you're still violating state law.
That's going to be a problem.
Only one lawmaker voted against it. Only one.
What else was in the bill?
It was characterized as vaping nicotine is such an addicting thing that's coming. It's taking over these school campuses, and it may be. They're all getting rid of their tobacco, cigarettes,
So
and vaping.
how did cannabis get thrown into that? Does it specifically say that?
No, the device itself.
Okay.
The paraphernalia is illegal to have in your possession, in your car, anywhere on school grounds, anytime, 24/7. If your church rents the auditorium for Sunday services, you could get arrested at church.
They've got inhalers. I realize that's a vapor, but I don't think anybody's going to get handcuffed for pulling out an inhaler in the middle of an issue that requires them to need their inhaler. I really think that's something to think about.
This is a problem.
But there is other ways to do this, though. We can find a way.
Here's the thing. It was already handled. It was students had school rules to follow, and every school district says you can't bring them onto school property, students.
Right.
But if you're working at the school, if you're a veteran who happens to be still dealing with PTSD, but you're on staff, you can't keep it in your car, so in case you have a flashback.
The government never should have got involved in it at all. This should have been a local school issue.
Yeah.
Local schools should be deciding what's
Absolutely.
allowed on property and what's not.
And every legislature in the Freedom Index, which is going to be published here in the next week, every one of them except Nathan Dom got docked 10 points.
So what you're telling me is they're okay with the smaller communities making the choice about teachers with guns, or is that a state?
Oh yeah,
also?
now that they made for more conditions where you could bring firearms.
So now that's more up to the local area.
Absolutely.
A little bit. There's at least some flexibility in the local area as to whether or not teachers can carry guns.
Yes.
Which is an important thing to be able to do. I'm okay with that, but there's just a blanket no for anything that comes out of a vape.
Yeah, this is a medical delivery device that is now illegal on any public school grounds in Oklahoma. As soon as this goes into effect.
Sounds like a government move to me.
Absolutely, well, short-sighted.
So what do you think about, look, what do you think about what Lawrence Pasternak has pointed out with the federal hemp bill making THC from federally legal, which is 0.03 hemp,
Yeah.
0.03 THC hemp, making that THC legal, okay, which throws this whole safety-sensitive jobs restriction out the window. What do you think about that? And the fact that I think if the lawmakers would have understood that, if they had sat down with their lawyers and understood that before writing 2612, I don't believe the safety-sensitive jobs issue would be the way it is. I think they would have told the Chamber of Commerce, too bad we don't want to get sued.
Yeah, and here's the other thing that they failed in, and wasn't that part of the Unity bill, right?
2612. I'm not calling it the Unity
Yeah,
bill.
you're right. Okay.
I worked on the Unity bill.
Yeah, the funkity
Son,
bill. Yeah.
this is no Unity bill.
It wasn't. Okay,
Stealing a
but
line there from something else.
in that piece of legislation that came out of the Joint Commission, you know, whatever, bicameral study.
The Joint Commission.
Yeah, so they didn't specify the drug testing thresholds by which you would even be found to have drugs in your system. They're saying just because you have a card, well, I could go get a card and have no intention. In fact, I know a lawmaker whose wife is pursuing a card now, even though she doesn't plan to get it. She's trying to use CBD-only products.
Right.
But I said, look, if it gets worse, you don't want to wait a month for all your paperwork and to get your license. When it gets worse, you're going to need treatment now. So go ahead and get it now. Get your license now, even though you don't foresee and you hope you never need the THC products. But just possessing that card, to me, it's a violation of your privacy rights, you know, because it is a medical thing. And yeah, this is a problem. This is why people shut up and don't tell their boss about their health problems.
Yeah.
And that's a bad deal. Right now, I work, you know, of course, you know, I volunteer in mental health issues, and I work with law enforcement and training on mental health, crisis intervention. And they tell me that when a law enforcement officer needs to get therapy, and you would understand why, they deal with very gruesome scenes, very difficult things. It rips your heart out, the things they have to deal with. They can't even file insurance to go see a therapist because it puts a black mark on their career possibilities if they're seen as mentally less than stable. So you know what we've got in Oklahoma? A whole bunch of retired therapists now say, I will volunteer any law enforcement therapy, we'll do it off the books, don't file insurance, you don't have to tell your boss. Those are the things we have to get around just so these law enforcement officers get the help they need so they can get well, so they can effectively protect us.
Well, maybe we need to get you to go around with us on this bus tour this
I'd love to. That sounds fun.
Good idea. We're going to have a good time. I think it's going to be
I think it's great. I'm looking forward to the Lost Lakes event.
Yeah, that's going to be a blast. You guys need to come out to that. That's June 28th and 29th at Lost Lakes in Oklahoma City. That's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be tons of bands there. There's going to be some of the lawmakers out there.
I especially want veterans. If you're benefited from the new cannabis medicine, or you have questions about will it work for me? Can I get off the benzodiazepines that the VA is giving me? What would it cost? How effective is it? We'll have veterans there who have been down this road, and they'll tell you. You'll be able to see how much better their quality of life is.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be something there for everybody. It is going to be family friendly. There's also going to be a patient drive, so there'll be plenty of people getting their cards. There is 3 bodies of water there, so you know, bring a bathing suit. Plan on getting wet. It just might have a good time. It just might accidentally happen. I've even got Mark Woodward from the OBNDD coming out, and I'm hoping to get him and some of his fellow cohorts in the dunk tank. Yeah. Which should be a lot of fun.
You know what? We've got to tip a hat. Woodward's been good.
Oh, he's been great.
He really has.
And he's been so easy to work with and so informative. And he's, I mean, a simple phone call or an email, and he's right there. And the OBNDD has really not been this big boogeyman yet.
Yeah.
I'm not saying in 2 years we might be having a different
Yeah,
conversation.
in fact, I want to put a plug in. You know, I know Hunter's busy with this lawsuit, but he can certainly get somebody from the Attorney General staff to come and meet with us about some of these pain management issues that still are lingering. I think it'd be great to have that dialogue with the AG's department, and then also on these issues of the rogue district attorneys going after people's government housing. My God, how heartless can you be to kick a mama out of her house because she gets her help with cannabis medicine?
Yeah, I'm having a real hard time with that one. I had hoped to go down there last week and get some footage, but with my son ending up in the hospital and me getting sick and then all the flooding going on all over the state, that stuff hasn't. I haven't heard any. I haven't heard that they did that day. It stormed the entire day they were supposed to do that. Again, I've still continued to hear from people in that county telling me what's going on, and we are looking into some things, but I think some much further investigation needs to be done here as to why they're doing this. As to, is it really just some people who are I mean, this is the same people who, apparently this district attorney made a deal a year ago with this private company to come into this county to teach law enforcement how to, I would say, steal from everybody on the highway. How to pull them over, search their cars, confiscate things. Have you heard about this?
Oh yeah, they're pirates.
I mean, I don't remember the name of the company. It's a big company they brought in to do this. The company gets a percentage of everything they take. I mean, the incentive here for them is to steal from the citizens of Oklahoma, and they've been doing it off of Interstate 40 to the tune of millions of dollars.
I was invited up to Chicago 3 years ago by a think tank to talk about the asset forfeiture policies. And it started in the Reagan administration. Ed Meese was the Attorney General, and they were going after these international drug kingpins where they couldn't get at the person who's really operating, but they could get at the billions of dollars that was leaving the United States. And they said, let's at least seize those assets, so they got to come to us and make their claim, right? That's how it started. And Ed Meese, I met with him a couple of years ago, and he said, we got to stop it right now. It is being so bastardized, so corrupted right now. It was started as it actually has its roots in our anti-piracy laws, that the British flag ships did it, and then the American flag ships and said, you know what, you find a pirate and he's got some booty that he confiscated from another merchant, you can take that. It's lawful for you to do it. The problem is now our law enforcement's actually become the pirates of the interstates.
Well, the part of the district attorney's budget, this district attorney I'm talking about, as well as every district attorney, is seizures.
Yes, and it's off the books. They don't even have to report it to their county commissioners, to their city mayor. They don't have to report it to the state legislature. It's off the books money. They can spend on whatever they want.
This is legal mafia work here. It really is legal organized crime in the name of law enforcement. I don't know what to say about it.
It's horrible. It's un-American. This is not why our forefathers fought and died for our freedom.
All right, well, I think we're going to wrap it up here, David. Again, we are here at the Greens, or at, I'll get all my Greens confused, at Green Country Bud, 89th and Yale, here in Tulsa. David's first dispensary.
Oh yeah, I'm a
that's
teetotaler. I support this because of what it's done for the mental health patients, especially the veterans that are dying.
You can see it's not a hippie commune in here.
No,
it's a very nice facility. I don't think CVS has anything on this place.
This is well run, professional staff, clean.
They would probably have rows of candy and pop like CVS, so they could make more money on you before you get out the door like CVS. But they'd have to buy more licenses for that. We're great. This is Green Country Bud is fantastic. I've got to answer this. You go on for a second.
All right.
Okay?
I'm David Van. We're going to sign off. Thank you for Chris Moe, Uncle Grumpy, and we'll.
All right. Sorry about that. My son's on his way from he just moved out. He's on his way to college, empty nest now, and he's driving through all this rain. So, and I know he's not there yet. So when the phone rang and I saw his number, I had to answer. He's fine, so I hung up on him.
He's a loving dad, let me tell
I
you.
don't
He's
know
proud
about
of his
all
son.
that. I don't know about all
You're a
that.
good man.
Anyway, again, we are here at Green Country Bud, 89th and Yale. They've got a beautiful store here. Come in and see them. Extremely knowledgeable staff.
Absolutely.
This is not some hippie commune. They are helping people here. As we've noticed, the average patient is older than me.
Yeah.
So, and in this area of town, you know, that's.
Well, I was telling you a couple of weeks ago that when I was reporting to the Tea Party group about 788 passing, and they were really critical of it, a lot of the uppity older folks, and I said, well, you might not be able to get it in Peggy's part of town, and the leader said, oh no, Peggy's part of town will have the good stuff. You know what? This is Peggy's part of town. They get the good stuff here, folks.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, well, yeah, they do, and I'm going to post some pictures. I'll take some pictures. I think we may have already gotten some.
Yeah.
And I'll post some pictures on Instagram, show everybody what they've got. Come down here, and hopefully we'll still be here. Anyway, till next time, stay grumpy. See you on the road.